Everybody good? All right. Good afternoon. On Monday, the mayor and I and our homicide stood in front of you and asked for and delivered some really tragic news of a little girl who was tragically murdered. And we asked for your help. Her name was Jocelyn Nungaray, and she was 12 years old. We started to work, and we've been working around the clock since that time, trying to find out what happened to her and who was responsible and to get them off the street. I want to thank our homicide team, our North Belt crime suppression teams, our gang division, our SWAT team, and Metro PD, who all came together as we looked for this, for the guys that did this, the suspects in this horrible murder, and we were all out there. In fact, the mayor was with me on Tuesday night late as we were going through and looking to see if we could find anything else. And the teams were out there, and they were scouring every potential video feed, and they were talking to everybody possible that might have seen something or heard something.
Second, guys.
And their hard work paid off because we were able to find video and trace the movements of our suspects and of Jocelyn, and all the way to the point of where she was murdered and left in a bayou in the water. So that's the hard work that they did. We asked for the public's help, and the public came through too. People stepped up, people called, and we are still asking for more help from the public, for anybody that might have seen something or might know something, however small, to reach out to us. And I'll have Homicide give you the numbers. Lieutenant Hope will give you the numbers on who to call for that. You can even call anonymously, but we really need all the help from all the public and to make sure that we have the very best solid case so these individuals do not get released back into the field, back into the public where they could hurt other people. So that is my ask of you. About an hour ago, I talked to Miss Nungaray, Jocelyn's mother, Alexis. And she's been very brave, but she is still devastated. Her little girl's gone. And now they're trying to figure out how to take care of her and to arrange funeral arrangements and try to heal for something you really can't heal from. And we understand that because many of us have kids and cannot imagine the pain that they're going through. So I ask you to still pray for them immensely. They're going through a really trying time. And as Houstonians and this public, I know that we have fantastic people here. Keep praying for the Nungaray family. I want to turn it over to the mayor to make a few comments. And then followed by that, we'll have Lieutenant Hope to give you more details on the investigation and how it's played out thus far, things that we can share. But please understand there are still things we cannot share for the purposes of the investigation. I know you all understand that. And then we're going to deliver this in Spanish with Commander Garcia, who will offer comments in Spanish, and then we'll take questions from there. So with that, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. I'm here because of the seriousness of this case and my personal interest. As the mayor, as a grandfather and a father, it doesn't get any worse. I'm here primarily, though, to emphasize 3 points. Our condolences to the family. When I spoke to Ms. Nungaray about an hour ago, she was at the funeral home. I'm concerned about their economic circumstances and also to let them know that all of Houston, all the investigators, their neighbors, the retail merchants in the area, everyone that came forward with information. As the chief mentioned, I was there the night before last. This North Belt crime suppression group, you don't want to mess with them. They were out on the streets, going up and down every street in every direction from the incident and the scene of the crime. I've watched homicide work around the clock all night long. I've seen SWAT show up to make certain that they were apprehended properly. So The first thing I want to emphasize is the condolences. The family, as the chief said, is devastated. I've spoken with an uncle. If you just put yourself in their place, they don't know which way to turn. They have very limited resources, but they're strong, they're brave. The mother just wants to see her baby. Hasn't been able to examine the body due to the investigation, but she's making arrangements as we talk. Number two, and I just touched on it briefly, but I want to expound on it. The police work. I want Houstonians to know, be proud and excited about your police department. The men and women go to work, they have families, but they are so passionate about their work, so professional. And it does aggravate me when some sources say, we've got to restore our confidence in the police. No, the confidence is there. I've witnessed it. I'm sharing it with Houstonians. All the resources necessary, collaboration, the scene of the crime, and we're seeing the result of this hard, old-fashioned police work using social media, new technologies, but also just footwork and collaboration, language skills. You couldn't be more proud of the police department, and we're seeing living evidence of it as I stand before you. And number three, I want to reach out to the court system, the justice system. We're going to be watching you. The arrest has taken place. The charges have been filed. Now we want the justice system to do its job. If there was ever a circumstance where you do not give someone bail, this is it. There are circumstances allowed that you can prevent bail. Take in consideration flight risk. Take in consideration the severity of this crime. So I'm going to be monitoring the court system. I want these suspects to have their day in court. I want to be held accountable, and I want it done sooner than later. That said, I'll yield to Lieutenant Hope, who has really led a very effective investigation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. Yes, ma'am. My name is Stephen Hope, S-T-E-P-H-E-N. Last name Hope, H-O-P-E. So I'm here today because our team has worked tirelessly tracking evidence in this case since the discovery of Jocelyn by a citizen on the morning of June 17th, 2024. Because of the assistance of the area community and surveillance video that our officers have tirelessly tracked down and other evidentiary pieces, we have found and learned that the suspects began their evening at a Northborough area restaurant together. Nice. They left that restaurant on foot, southbound. Okay. The suspects continued south and were first seen on a camera, and those are images that we released to you, to all of you and to the public. Suspects seen meeting the victim and talking for a few minutes while they were on Kuykendahl. Later, the suspects and the victim walked together to a convenience store, and those images were also released to you guys and the public.
So she did meet them.
After a few minutes, all three together walked to a bridge where ultimately Jocelyn was murdered.
Wow.
Suspects continue south towards their residence after leaving Jocelyn there. I want to thank the media for their assistance in greatly and broadly releasing the images of the suspects. I want to thank all the witnesses who have been brave coming forward, talking to the police, and giving us the information that we needed to identify these suspects.
So she knew them.
So that on this morning, Thursday, June 20th, officers with the Houston SWAT team, Gang Division, North Belt Division, and Homicide did a coordinated operation at 13355 Northborough Drive, the Canfield Lake Apartments. And there we were able to find the two suspects, detain them, and transfer them back here to Travis for questioning. While there, CSU continued to process their location, searching for more evidence, which they have found. The suspects are now facing charges of capital murder, one being Johan Jose Rangel Martinez, the second male being Franklin Jose Peña Ramos.
I wonder, are they migrants?
It's because of the hard work of my police officers, the teams, the media, and the community at large that we were able to do this. And I'm very proud of everyone who was involved. Thank you. Johan Jose Rangel Martinez, Johanjose Rangel Martinez, and Franklin Jose Peña Ramos, Franklin Jose Peña Ramos. And we will be updating you guys with images once the booking process is completed.
So it seems like she either met them there or she knew them. I don't know which one it is, too soon to tell. But she didn't meet them at the store. She met them on the streets and then walked with them to the store.
Martinez is 21 years old and Ramos is 26 years old.
Buenas tardes. A nombre del jefe de la policía, Satterwhite, y del alcalde Whitmire, acabamos de recibir las noticias de que, gracias a los esfuerzos de todos los policías involucrados en este caso, tanto de la División de Homicidios.
So I'm going to put this down a little bit in the background because I don't speak Spanish and most of my audience doesn't speak Spanish. But there's some questions here that we have, such as, in fact, let me just mute it altogether if I can. There we go. I can mute it. All right. So some of the questions I have is, did she know these guys? The testimony from her boyfriend, her 13-year-old boyfriend, is that he's on the phone while she's talking to some guys. Now, that doesn't come off to me like I'm leaving my house for the purpose of meeting these older guys for whatever reason, you know? And when we're talking about 12-year-olds, you can't assume that reason is for something nefarious like sex. You can't assume that because kids don't normally think about sex. It could be, I'm meeting these guys so we could go hang out. To meet these guys because they're cool and they make me feel grown. I'm meeting these guys because we smoke weed together. I'm meeting these guys because they get me alcohol and we drink together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be any reason why she decided to meet up with these guys. But that kind of falls apart when her boyfriend is on the phone, because if she's meeting up with two guys, then why would she be on the phone at the same time with a boyfriend? Unless, of course, they met her on the street, they sweet talked her, she's out there, you know, breaking the rules, being adventurous, you know, out the house when she shouldn't be out the house. And they're kind of like, all right, well, come at us this way, or let's walk back to the apartment complex together. And instead of taking her home or escorting her back to the community together, because it could be something as simple as, well, you lived over there, we live over there too, let's walk together. And then when they get to that overpass situation, they take advantage of her and they kill her. I thought he might be speaking English, but he's not yet. So there's so many variables here. It's hard to presume. I definitely want answers to those questions. I want some answers to those questions. So let's see when they start asking questions.
Ustedes pueden dar la información que tienen al 713-222-TI.
I have a feeling that these guys are migrants. All right, so they're going to come back to questions in English.
We'll now take questions.
Sources describe a pretty horrendous scene, her arms and feet tied up, undressed from the bottom down. What can you tell us about this scene, and do you believe that there was a sexual assault here as well?
We're still doing a lot of that investigation. We have performed submitted for a sexual assault kit to be performed, a SANE kit on her. So that is still pending. And for everything else, it was a horrible scene, but in careful care of the investigation, that's as far as I'll go with it.
And then we're told that one of the suspects had possible bite marks on his neck. Any self-defense wounds? Do you believe that there was a struggle here?
Of course.
And broken nails?
So again, at this point, there's things I can release, that we will release, and things that we won't. All of that, the condition of her, more specifically of the suspects, all of those things will come out in time. But for now, we are not confirming any details. And to be fair about what you just described, I don't have any information on that. Homicide might. But again, we're trying to make sure that we're being as careful with this investigation to get it all right. So I can't confirm anything at this time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Martinez and Ramos are Venezuelan. Can you confirm that? And what is
We have reached out to Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, and they are conducting that part of the investigation.
Told you.
Those types of things. So I would defer to them and defer you to them for confirmation of those things.
I told you. He's basically saying it without saying it. They
It
are
appears that they were
migrants.
all residing in the same apartment, yes.
And do we know how long they have lived in the area in that particular apartment?
I don't know that for sure. We think maybe one a matter of months, but the other far less.
And the lieutenant painted a very nice picture, thank you for that, with regards to what took place to this tragic ending. But if you can you provide us exactly about how long it took from the meeting to the bridge?
Yes. So it was in the evening of the 16th that they left that restaurant. It was during the nighttime, midnight hour almost, that they were walking. And we believe that it wasn't until shortly after 1 to 2 o'clock that they were at the bridge. So it was within a span of 3-4 hours.
And is there a previous relationship between Jocelyn and these two men? How did they know each other?
So as far as we can tell right now, the communication between everyone is still a part of the investigation. We've worked really, really hard to get to this point, but a mountain of work stands before us to be able to document and look through everything that we have left.
We know that she was in an apartment. Was it at the same complex or was it a different?
No, it was a different.
So when you mentioned that there's evidence that was found in the apartments, can you give details?
I cannot. Sorry.
Have these two been cooperative with you guys at all?
Yes, they have been talking with us, and we are taking statements and talking with them. And as soon as we're done and they are booked in, like I said, we will get the pictures to you and make sure that everything that you need.
Crack the case. Was there someone who called police?
So I'm actually really, really proud of the Houston citizens. I'm actually very proud of you guys, the media. It is all of the above. With all the effort that you guys put into getting the images of the individuals out to the public in a broad scape, with all the people who worked with us, the community members up in the Northborough area, the statements from witnesses, I can't stress enough that every piece of this was all together.
If I could follow up on that question real fast. Lieutenant, if I could follow up on that question there. What was the threshold that was crossed to where you were able to charge them with murder?
And I have to say it's all of it together. It's the totality of every piece of the evidence together. Once it brought it all into one place, then we were able to find them, find out who they are, link them to the location and to the actual incident itself.
So no type of confession or anything like that from either one?
So the actual statements that they've made is going to be a part of the investigation, and I can't go into that.
Another question on this end over here, please.
Yes.
In relation to that question, what makes it a capital murder? Can you go into that?
Yes.
And commission of another felony?
No, actually, the age of the victim in Texas state law is all we need for it to be a capital.
That's good.
Under the age of 15, any murder is a capital murder.
That's good. These guys are going to get the death penalty.
Were they just about the apprehension, or were they a part of the investigation?
So they actually assisted us greatly in reaching out with the community itself, and then also with surveillance and in the apprehension of the individuals. No, not that I know of, and that's still.
Do you actually have video of all three at the bridge? Do you have
So the specifics of the actual surveillance videos, I cannot divulge at this time. I do let you know that we have evidence that compels us to believe that everyone was together throughout the entire course of this event.
Mentioned that she was on the phone with her boyfriend around midnight that night. Did he ever call police about any concerns?
Again, all of the communication portions, electronic or digital otherwise, is all being scoured. That's part of the mountain of information that we have to still go through and document.
Have the parents of the 13-year-old been cooperative with you all?
Extremely.
We looked at some
Couple more,
video
guys.
that
Couple
showed
more.
an HPD unit in the parking lot between the 7-Eleven and the bridge around 12:06 a.m. Monday. Was that in any relation to Jocelyn or anything related to this case?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Mayor, you mentioned keeping your eye on the courts. Are you going to go to court to see the
No, I'm just simply saying that we have a justice system, and I think justice delayed is not good. So this is such an horrendous crime that I don't want to see these individuals on bond on the streets of Houston, if at all possible.
So he's
We'll
talking
leave
about
that to
bail
the
reform in Houston.
Judgment of the magistrate and the judges, but from my experience, capital murders in general on bond are some of our higher risk individuals.
That happens a
Dangerous
lot in
to
Houston.
law enforcement. When they jump bond, they know there's a warrant for their arrest. They don't want to be apprehended, and that leads to violence, not to mention the exposure to the citizens of Houston. So all I'm saying is the police are doing their job. The public's cooperated. The media's cooperated. Charges have been filed. So now let's do not delay accountability. Give them a fair trial they're entitled to, but hold them accountable by the judge and the justice system. So I will be monitoring it because, in general, I'm concerned about the delay of trials in Harris County. Approximately 900 individuals are on the street of Houston today charged with murder or capital murder, waiting to go to court. And as I've said, it's one of the more dangerous profile that you could have in our community, that many of them are fugitives. We don't even know where they are. So I want to let Houstonians know I'll be monitoring the justice system as these two individuals go through it.
So I'm just pausing here real quick, just to chime in with a few things. First, I'll answer a question from the chat. Rain said, did they lure her or was it a crime of opportunity? I think it was both. I think that she probably was familiar with them from the community. Allegedly, these guys lived in the same apartment complex that she was living in. And I think they lured her, kind of like, I don't know. We'll have to figure out as the charging documents become available in the next few days and weeks. But I think it was a situation of, hey, let's walk together. And they're walking in the direction of her home. And when they get to that bridge, that's when they take advantage of her. So I think it was a common opportunity in both. We'll see. We'll find out. As just to address what the mayor was saying about Harris County, you know, we don't talk politics anymore on the Strategic Eyes show. I've made that decision that we're just going to do true crime. But when we did talk politics, we did speak about Harris County, where they went through a number of police reform, a number of criminal justice reform, and they elected certain individuals with certain ideologies to their judgeships as well as their local legislatures. And what that resulted is that they're releasing more people who are arrested for murder on bail. Like, they're giving murder suspects low bails that anybody can pay. So they'll say, okay, you have a $15,000 bond or a $20,000 bond, but understand that you only have to pay 10% of that. You don't have to pay the entire amount. So you only have to pay, if it's, you know, $2,000, if it's a $20,000 bond, and then your relatives can bring property that's worth that amount as collateral to the bail bondsman. So it's very easy for somebody to be released on bond, especially if your crime is related to drugs and you have drug money or you just have money in general. You're able to walk out and be free while your case is taking 2 to 5 years to be adjudicated in Harris County. What has resulted is a lot of people have died because these folks have committed more crimes, killed more people. Like the mayor said, they go on a run, and then they pretty much like, you're going to have to take me dead or alive, copper type situation, because they know that they killed somebody. They know that since they absconded on their bail or their bond, that they're not going to get another bail or bond, even in a place that has the political leanings of Harris County. You just forfeited that ability to be on bail because you just messed up the terms of that bail. So they kind of like kill me, because the alternative is sit in prison until their case is adjudicated and then life in prison. So they decide to just go bonk crazy, kill cops, kill citizens, kill themselves. It's been a nightmare in Harris County. And so what the mayor is saying is, don't do what you've done in previous cases where you've allowed people who have committed heinous crimes to remain on the streets. Now, I got to say that I don't believe that the judges in Harris County, based off of the facts of this case, would give bail to these individuals, because when they asked the police officials if these individuals were illegal aliens or migrants, he kind of obfuscates and says, oh, well, you got to talk to Homeland Security, but they're currently doing their own investigation. Well, if people are American citizens, there's no investigation for Homeland Security to do. It's either you're an American citizen or you're not. You know, they arrest you, they ask you for your name, your date of birth, your social security, and they know off the gate that you're an American citizen. The fact that this law enforcement official had to say that is just part and parcel to the fact that these guys were illegal aliens. They were here illegally. And we see that trend where it's just a lot of crime coming out of that community, which is unfortunately affecting everybody. And I want to say the vast majority of people who come into this country, they are good people. Whatever you believe about the politics, that's your own personal business. We're not getting into the politics on this channel, right? The vast majority of these people are good people. For whatever reason, they're trying to get a better life for their family. But there is a criminal element that is coming into the country, and we're starting to see the fruits of those elements now. We're starting to see what happens when, you know, these situations are allowed to fester. So let's pray that Harris County does not allow these guys to get bond as they've done in the past for heinous murders, okay? For murders. They have done it in the past. They've given people bond, and then those people were allowed to walk the streets. And I think there's a very good case for a flight risk in this case, since it appears that these individuals are not U.S. citizens and therefore could easily slide across the border back into their home countries and make apprehension exceedingly difficult. Let's keep going in the press conference.
The praline brownies are made, the fresh banana pudding.
Well, I paused it, and I think it's over now. So that's what we got, guys.
Kind of the surprise and something to look forward to.
Yeah, so that was the end of the press conference. I'm sorry for the impromptu live. It looks like some real good food in the background there. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me get over here and get this one off the screen. All right. Perfect. Well, where's my background? Right. All right. Something's wrong with my background. Who cares? We'll figure it out. You know what? So we're on a black screen. You know what? This is what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up of this beautiful young lady. This beautiful little girl, Jocelyn. Jocelyn. So go ahead. Wow. Grizzly True Crime. She's really killing it with the algorithm. Her show is #1 on the Google research results. She's #1 on the Google search result when you type in Jocelyn Nungaray press conference. That's just a blessing, man, for her. Good for her and her family. She's even above the local news. She's above the local news when it comes to the algorithm. Good for her, man. Good for her. Good for her. Let's visit this Facebook page, and let's just have her as a background. Let's make that big. Have her as my background. There we go. Boom. So, and I'm sorry, I forgot to do the transition over. So I was talking about this, Grizzly True Crime. You guys couldn't see it at the time. She is #1 on the Google search feed. Good for her. And the secondary search where she's still #1, and the local news, which is Fox 26, is second. So she's doing a really good job for her family. I wish her nothing but blessings. She's definitely put the hard work in, and she's doing an amazing job. And it shows. It literally shows. So, yeah. So I just wanted to do that impromptu live with you guys. Just, you know, share that press conference with each other. I got to say that it's very sad what happened. My prayers go out to the family. I think they do have a GoFundMe. You know, whenever you see a child with braces, you know that that child is being taken care of, that somebody loves that child, and people are taking the time to make sure that that child gets what they need to be successful as an adult. For whatever reason, this young lady left that house, and in a perfect world, she would have returned back to that house safe and secure. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world that's filled with ugly, and we live in a world that's filled with terrible people. So the only thing we can do is pray for healing with this family. Consider going to the GoFundMe for the family and donating and showing that support and love. Hopefully, you know, forget about just paying for this lovely young lady's funeral. She got it. We got it. She has a little brother that's left. We got to do something to get that family out of that community, to get them to a better situation. I'm not saying that we make them rich off of this tragedy. If you want to, then fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just a couple dollars to help them move from that community to something better, so that at least her surviving brother can grow up in a better environment and they can heal without just feeling the pressure of having to survive in such a downtrodden community. Like Danielle told us, who's familiar with the area, this is a very bad area. Unfortunately, it lived up to its reputation. So anyway, I see you guys on the next one. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Just an impromptu live for us to watch this together. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Everybody who's watching right now, make sure that you hit that like button. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. This is True Crime with Strategic Eyes. We're going to stay on it. We're going to see this one through and much, much more. Once again, we are rebranded as a true crime channel. We've always done true crime in the past, but now we're hyper-focused on true crime. We're hyper-focused on the victims. We're hyper-focused on the survivors. We're hyper-focused on understanding why these bad guys do the things that they do. This is my life's work. This is what I do to feed my family. This is the education I have and the experience that I have, and I'm going to put that to the test to become the best communicator for you guys that I could possibly be. All right, so we'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.